Hello, and welcome back to Everything Travel and Health. Thanks for coming back. We really appreciate your support on this channel. To those of you who have subscribed, we are immensely grateful, and for those who have yet to do so, we are counting on you to kindly subscribe to this channel as we strive to give you more helpful content like this. In my previous videos, I discussed how you can become registered and licensed as a nurse in different provinces of Canada. I also discussed how you can get a job in these provinces. After you have applied for a job, if you are shortlisted, you will be scheduled for an interview, which in most cases will be online. If you are successful in the interview, you will be offered a job. With the job offer, you can then decide which pathway you wish to immigrate through to Canada. The immigration pathways you choose would depend partly on the province you intend to work in. Also, some employers have preferences for certain relocation pathways. However, others leave the decision-making to you. Hence, it is important that you are aware of the various relocation pathways even before you land a job in Canada. It is also important to understand that once you complete your nursing registration, you can apply for some immigration programs, even without a job offer. However, having a job will greatly increase your chances of successfully immigrating to Canada. Nurses are in high demand across Canada. For this reason, there are a number of Canadian immigration pathways for nurses to choose from. As a nurse, you may be qualified to come to Canada as a skilled worker through one of the many economic immigration programs at both the federal and provincial levels. The immigration pathways I will be discussing relates virtually to all the provinces, including Nova Scotia, British Columbia, Alberta, Ontario, etc. You can either immigrate permanently or temporarily. Immigrating permanently implies that you immigrate through a permanent residency route, while immigrating temporarily means that you are immigrating to Canada with the intention of going there to work for a specified period of time and returning, even though most would eventually not return. This would imply that you go with a work permit visa. In this video, I will be discussing how you can immigrate to live and work in Canada permanently as a nurse. In another video, I will discuss how to immigrate to Canada temporarily through a work permit visa, without the need to provide IELTS or any other English test scores. It would be nice for you to subscribe and turn on notifications for this channel, so that you can be informed when it is available. In this video, I will be telling you about the various relocation options you have as a nurse to immigrate to Canada permanently, how to apply, the documents you need to provide, how long the process takes, the cost of the application, and other relevant information. Ensure you watch to the end and that you do not miss out on any information. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do so as to continue to enjoy more of our upcoming informative and educational videos. Do not forget to hit the notification bell to keep you notified of new uploads. Let's get right into the main discussion. Nurses can immigrate to Canada through any of 4 immigration programs. 3 of these immigration programs are managed through the Express Entry online system, while the last one is not. The immigration programs are: 1. The Federal Skilled Worker Program. 2. Canadian Experience Class. 3. Provincial Nominee Program and 4. Quebec Immigration Program. Before I discuss each of these programs, I would like to first briefly explain what Express Entry is. Express Entry is an electronic system used to manage the applications of skilled workers who wish to become permanent residents of Canada. Once an interested candidate submits an online profile, the federal government determines if the candidate is eligible for a program managed by Express Entry. Eligible candidates are accepted into the express entry pool and are ranked according to the Comprehensive Ranking System, CRS. The CRS is a points-based system used by the government to assess and rank candidates in the express entry pool. The CRS score is calculated based on a candidate's age, education, work experience, language skills, and other factors. Approximately every 2 weeks, the Canadian government selects the highest scoring candidates from the express entry pool and provides them with an invitation to apply, ITA, for permanent residence. Express entry is very simple and contains 2 major stages. In the first major stage, candidates who are eligible for express entry indicate to the Canadian government their expression of interest in obtaining Canadian permanent resident status. In the second major stage, the Canadian government invites the highest scoring candidates to immigrate to Canada. I will drop a link in the description box that will take you to the Government of Canada website, where you can see how the scores are awarded for the different factors. Knowing what express entry is, let's now discuss the immigration programs. To start with, let's talk about the Federal Skilled Worker Program, FSWP. This program is for skilled workers with foreign work experience who want to immigrate to Canada permanently. The Federal Skilled Worker, FSW, program is managed under the Express Entry System and uses the Comprehensive Ranking System, CRS, to rank candidates who wish to settle permanently in Canada. Nurses are not required to have Canadian work experience to enter the Express Entry pool. Instead, candidates must meet the minimum points requirement based on factors such as work experience, language ability, and education. Also, you do not need to have a job to be able to apply for the FSWP. Once in the pool, applicants with the most competitive CRS scores will receive invitations to apply for Canadian permanent residence. What are the eligibility criteria for FSWP? In order to qualify for the FSWP, a nurse must meet certain minimum requirements, which include 1. At least 12 months of continuous, full-time, skilled work experience completed within the previous 10 years, or an equal amount of part-time experience. 2. Reach a minimum of Canadian Language Benchmark, CLB, Level 7 on an approved English or French language test. This is equivalent to an IELTS of at least 6 across all 4 components. 3. A minimum of a Canadian high school diploma or the equivalent in foreign education. 4. Enough funds to support themselves and any spouse and/or children in their settlement in Canada. If a candidate meets the requirements listed earlier, they must also demonstrate that they score a minimum CRS of 67 out of 100 points on the FSW eligibility points grid. Provided a candidate meets these requirements, they will be eligible to submit an express entry profile for the Federal Skilled Worker Program. How to apply under the Federal Skilled Worker Program? Interested candidates must submit an express entry profile to Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, IRCC. Submitting an express entry profile does not guarantee a candidate will receive Canadian permanent residence. Only after submitting an express entry profile will a candidate be assigned a CRS score and be considered in future express entry draws for invitations to apply, ITAs, for permanent residence. When submitting your express entry profile, an FSW candidate will need to provide the following documents. 1. Educational Credentials Assessment, ECA. An ECA report is used to verify that your foreign degree, diploma, or certificate, or other proof of your credential, is valid and equal to a Canadian one. As a nurse, you can get an ECA report from the World Education Services, WES. For those of you who have already done your educational qualification credentials verification with WES, all you need to do is request that you need an ECA report. You will be told to pay some additional amount, and a report will be issued to you. However, if you have not yet registered with them, you can simply register for an ECA report. However, there are other ECA issuing organizations that you can use. 2. Language test results such as IELTS. Please note that OET is currently not accepted by the IRCC for immigration purposes. 3. Identification documents. Candidates will be required to provide information from identification documents. Ideally, a candidate and all accompanying family members should possess passports valid for travel. If a candidate is successful in receiving an invitation to apply, ITA, for Canadian permanent residence, they will move on to the second stage of the application process. In this second stage, the applicant will have 60 days to prepare and submit an electronic application for permanent residence (EAPR). This application requires further documentation. How long does it take to process an FSW application? The standard processing time for express entry applications is 6 months from the time the application is received by the Canadian authorities until the issuance of a permanent residence visa. It is important to note that federal skilled workers are required to demonstrate that they can provide for themselves and their families once they settle in Canada. So, what is the processing fee for the FSWP? The processing fee to apply under the Federal Skilled Worker Program is $1,365 for the principal applicant. If you are applying with your spouse, common law or conjugal partner, you will also have to pay $1,365 for them, and if you have any dependents or children who are less than 22 years old, you will pay $230 for each of them. Let's talk about the second program, which is the Canadian Experience Class, CEC. The Canadian Experience Class, CEC, program is ideal for nurses who have recent Canadian work experience and are seeking permanent immigration to Canada. CEC is also one of the fastest routes to Canadian permanent residence, taking as little as 3 to 4 months to process. This program is also appropriate for nurses who are currently residing in Canada temporarily, have work experience in Canada, but are not yet permanent residents. It is important to know about this, especially if you plan to immigrate to Canada temporarily through a work permit visa. If you immigrate to Canada temporarily through a work visa, then you can apply for permanent residency after working for 1 year through this program. So, what are the eligibility criteria for the Canada Experience Class? In order to be eligible for CEC, a candidate must have at least 12 months of full-time, or an equivalent amount of part-time, skilled work experience in Canada. The Canadian work experience must have been acquired within the previous 3 years from the date of the application. As a nurse, the experience can be in any sector or industry. So, this program is not an option for nurses who do not have recent Canadian work experience. You must also be able to provide a minimum of Canadian Language Benchmark, CLB, Level 7 on an approved English or French language test. This is equivalent to an IELTS score of at least 6 across all 4 components. The required documents are the same as those for the Federal Skilled Worker Program. However, proof of funds is not a requirement of the CEC program. You will not be required to provide any documentation regarding your finances. It is also important to note that you can apply for this program from outside Canada. As long as you have previous Canadian work experience, you can apply for this program from any part of the world. The application process and fees are the same as for the FSWP. The third immigration program for nurses is the Provincial Nominee Program. The Provincial Nominee Program, PNP, allows Canadian provinces and territories to nominate individuals who wish to immigrate to Canada and who are interested in settling in a particular province. The only exceptions are the Northern Canada Territory of Nunavut and Quebec. The main purpose of the PNP is to spread the benefits of immigration across Canada. Each PNP has at least one immigration stream that is aligned with the Federal Express Entry Immigration Selection System. Provincial nominations issued under these Express Entry aligned streams are known as enhanced nominations. The benefits of enhanced PNP streams are that they award Express Entry candidates an additional 600 Comprehensive Ranking System (CRS) points, which essentially guarantee they will receive a permanent residence invitation under Express Entry. Another major benefit is that they can have their permanent residence application processed by the federal government quicker, typically within 6 months. The other way to obtain permanent residence through the PNP is through a base stream. Here, you apply to a PNP stream directly, and once you obtain a provincial nomination, the federal government will process your permanent residence application. So, as a nurse, if you get a job offer from an employer in Nova Scotia, British Columbia, Alberta, or any other province, you can easily apply to join the PNP of that province. For example, in Nova Scotia, nurses can immigrate to work and live in the province permanently through the Labour Market Priorities stream of the Provincial Nominee Program in Nova Scotia. When you become registered in Nova Scotia and get a job offer, you can receive an invitation to apply for the program. Nurses who are registered can also receive an invitation to apply for the program without a job offer because of the shortage. In British Columbia, nurses can immigrate through the British Columbia Skills Immigration Health Authority stream. The Health Authority stream gives a permanent residence pathway to people working for a health authority in British Columbia. You will need a job offer from an employer to be able to apply under this stream. In the same manner, nurses who have gotten a job offer from an employer in Alberta can immigrate to Alberta through the Alberta Express Entry stream. What are the eligibility criteria for the Provincial Nominee Program? Canada offers nearly 80 different PNPs, each with its own individual eligibility requirements. Most PNPs require applicants to have some connection to the province. They should have either worked earlier in that province or studied there. Or they should have a job offer from an employer in the province for a job visa. A provincial nomination can help you in 2 ways to get your PR visa. It can add 600 CRS points to your Express Entry application and make you eligible to apply for your PR visa directly to the IRCC. The documents required are the same as those mentioned in the FSWP. The last program is the Quebec Immigration Program. Nurses can also qualify to come to Canada through the Skilled Worker Program in Quebec if they score 50 points or more on the province's selection grid. It is important to note that Quebec is a French-speaking province. Hence, applicants will be required to provide a minimum of Canadian Language Benchmark (CLB) Level 7 on an approved French language test. I shall drop the necessary links needed to apply for the different programs and streams mentioned in this video. You can visit the websites to learn more about these programs before you apply. In my next video, I will discuss how you can immigrate to Canada to live and work as a nurse temporarily, without having to take any English language tests. Watch out for the video. Thanks for watching. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. You can also share this video with your friends. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel, and click the notification bell to keep you informed of our future videos. Thanks, and I hope to see you in my next video.